Hello world, this is Paramdeep, and what we're presenting here is InCryptix, which is the product that we built for the Solana Hackathon. And what we're essentially trying to build is a decentralized platform that enables institutions, such as universities and educational institutions, to issue and validate digital certificates on a trustless and decentralized manner. So there are few problems that exist in the current system. These are the three problems. The number one is issuing certificates, the second is storing certificates, and validating certificates. So these are the three main problems that exist in the current system, and we try to solve all of these. The first one is issuing certificates. The idea is that when you're issued a certificate by an authority, it's generally just a piece of paper. So in the end, it's a paper, right? And you have to trust that paper is not spoofed. It's easy to forge a new certificate, and it's also easy to edit it. So this is why there's some trust involved in that certificate. So that is one problem that exists in the current system. The second one is storing of these certificates. Currently what happens is either you store a hard copy of that certificate with yourself, which can be lost or be destroyed. And if you store it as a digital certificate, for example, what happens with institutions like Coursera is they would give you a URL to your certificate, which you could access anytime to view your certificate. But this URL points to Coursera, and there might come a time where Coursera might not exist. And when they go down, your certificate also disappears because it's central point of storage, right? So, and the third problem is validating certificates, which is the core of what we're trying to solve. When a recruiter receives a certificate from a person, maybe the person is interviewing, and the interviewer has to validate if the certificate is correct, right? If it's not forged. What they will do is they'll contact the person who issued the certificate. For example, it's their university or it's Coursera. So they would be validating the certificate from a central source, and the process of validating itself would be a centralized method. And it's quite time consuming, and it's a process on its own. We try to solve these three in the one solution. And so let's just go into what the solutions are. The solution to the first problem, which is issuance of certificate. What we do is we use the Solana blockchain, and we consider each certificate as a program on the blockchain. So it's a smart contract. And these programs live on the Solana blockchain, which is a decentralized blockchain. And this can be issued by a certifying authority. And with the issuance itself, the authority can define things like what are the student name and what are their marks and how many, if the certificate has actually been, if the student has actually been certified. So there's a lot of variables and fields that go into a certificate, and that issuance could be done on our platform, and our platform would take it and push it onto the Solana blockchain as a program, as a smart contract. This gives this contract a non-fungible status. It's a non-fungible certificate that acts as an automated process of evaluation and verification of the certificate. So that comes later. The second one is the storage. So instead of storing certificate in a hard copy or a centralized database, we store certificates on the Solana blockchain itself. And because it's decentralized, there is no central point of failure. If a single node goes down, the network still stays. So that way we can trustedly assume that this certificate would stay there for a pretty long time. And the third one is basically certificate verification. Certificate Explorer is a way of saying that it's like a block explorer but for certificates. So because a certificate is the same thing as a program on Solana, we built a way of exploring the certificate space, and this is used to verify the data of a certificate. So things that a certificate would have is something like, is the certification complete? Is the degree complete? Is the person certified? What is the student name? Right? What are the courses they took? So these data are part of the contract, and because these are publicly indexed data, you could verify it on the blockchain. These are the solutions we try to solve with our platform. So there are three actors in this. The first one is issuing authority, which could be Coursera, Udemy, or IIT or any university, right? Any authority that issues a certificate, that's a certifying authority. And as I explained earlier, these authorities can just use our platform to issue a certificate, and that certificate wouldn't be a digital image or anything that would live on a single source. It would be a decentralized program that would live on the Solana blockchain, including all the good things of calculating and evaluating things like is it a valid certificate? Is has the certification been completed by the student? So these things can be calculated, and the progress of it can be tracked on chain. So that is what we provide a value ID to the value proposal for certifying authorities. The second is the learners portal. This is something we haven't been able to build for the hackathon, but this is something we had in our vision to build somewhat of a learner portal where students do their lectures and all those things, and this is used to track their progress, and that progress is stored on, updated, and on the data of that program, and that program is the certificate. So as you study, as you take classes, as you complete classes, as you complete your exams, your certificate would update automatically, and as soon as you qualify the criteria of passing the certificate, it would automatically trigger and make it as being certified. So that is a completely automated process. You don't have to host a server. The university doesn't have to host a server. No one has to host a server because the Solana blockchain is there to process it. So that is something we're providing. And the third actor is the recruiter, right? The recruiter benefits mostly from the validation part of it, because instead of giving the certificate, a hard copy or an image or something, the student can just give a program ID or an ID for the certificate, and the recruiter can simply go to our portal, and which is something we will demo right now. And with that ID, they can view the certificate and the data in it. That data generally involves things like if it's certified or not. So this gives the recruiter trust that the certificate is valid, because it's on a decentralized platform. They can be assured that it hasn't been tampered with, and they're not trusting anyone other than what the certifying authority has said. So if the certifying authority has said that they have passed, that data automatically gets into the block on the certificate, and that's what the recruiter sees. So that's a completely automated pipeline. That's what we build. So let's go straight into the demo. The demo link is provided with a submission. It's InCryptix.pages.dev/dash. And right in front, it asks you who you are, right? So if you're an issuing authority, go here. If you're a student, go here. If you're a recruiter, go here. So let's say I'm a issuing authority. I want to issue a certificate for someone. Maybe it's a student. So let's begin the demo. What we have here is a portal for the certifying authority. And these are two options that the person has. The person can either issue a certificate or explore a certificate, essentially view a certificate. The second option is something that would be available to everyone. It would be available to the recruiter and the student, and the recruiter is the person who would benefit from the second option the most. And the first one is something that the certifying authority has. So what the certifying authority can do is they can create a certificate. So let's click on create. They can enter some fields. For example, these fields we decided for the demo. The first one is just the name. So let's have a name. That's my name. Let's say I graduated from IIT Delhi, and an enrollment number is that ID that the certifying authority would issue to the students. Generally, it's like an enrollment number, like it's an ID. So for now, let's just have something random. And the degree I did was a BTech. So these are the data that the certificate will have. And when I click on submit, what essentially happens is a new program gets created or constructed for these data, and that program, which is the certificate, gets deployed into the Solana blockchain. And what we get in return is the program ID. So let's copy this program ID, and we could also view it in the Solana Explorer as a separate program. But what we can do, let's say we copied this and view the recruiter now. So over here is the recruiter's portal, and we got a program ID from the student, which was given by the certifying authority. That could be the university or Coursera or anyone. And what the recruiter can do, they can verify whether your candidate owns the certificate. And so what all we need to do is know the certificate ID, which is actually the program ID. We put it here, and let's click on find. So there we have it. Right? The certificate does exist, and we get all the information, the name and the certifying authority, where the degree they did, and the enrollment number as well. This can be viewed on the Solana Explorer as well, and the code for this is entirely open source, and I believe this link would be included in it. So that is the gist of what we did. It's a pipeline for issuing to validating certificates in a trustless and verifiable manner, with all the good things that our blockchain would provide us. So let's just get back to the presentation. This obviously was a demo that we did for the hackathon. We do have future scope for it. That in the biggest one would be to create an ecosystem that would track progress for students. So things like how much they scored on the exam, that score would essentially be pushed into the contract, and the contract would automatically update the status of that certificate. For example, there is an exam, and if the student scores higher than the required marks, the certificate would automatically mark that certificate as complete, right? That student is now certified. So that is an automated process, and that expects some inputs from a learner portal. That is something that we want to build. This is the team, and this is me, and we have built this product, and so yes, that's it. Thank you.